All right, in today's video, we're going to talk about the importance of getting outside your comfort zone. And this is something that a lot of people automatically, just by default, don't love to do, and something even I really don't love to do. But the importance of it really can't be understated. And I've heard from people that really life starts outside your comfort zone. And that's pretty much something I can agree with. You really, in order to improve in life, and this is where a lot of people get stuck, you have to get outside your comfort zone. But a lot of people, they won't. And I believe the vicious cycles that some people get into of disappointment to where they're not doing things that they want to do in their life, or they're not accomplishing the goals that they maybe set out. It might be because they're not getting outside their comfort zone. And a pretty good example of this is when you get depressed, it feels so hard to break that cycle and the other things go downhill in your life because you have no motivation to really do much at all. You're just trying to go to your day-to-day and get through that. That feels like enough of a chore. You're not really going to be doing anything special, and you're not going to be doing anything extra. You're not going to be trying to take any type of extra efforts, and for that reason you'll skip out on a lot of the things you need to be doing in order to be improving. So what happens there is you end up getting caught in that cycle of doing the same thing, getting the same result, and it feels hopeless in your life. So that's where you get that depression cycle that really can cut you down a lot. And I've definitely seen this in myself back in the day when I was, in high school and middle school, stuff like that, really early on, and certainly in childhood. Like, you would kind of just do the same things over and over and get the same result, but you really didn't have any kind of weight to really step outside my comfort zone, try something new. And I can say all the growth that I've experienced in the last few years and such, and going through college and all that, and community college, and breaking out of my hometown city, I've had to really get outside my comfort zone, and it's been very difficult to do. And that was something that I knew in the back of my head was going to be very uncomfortable at first, but was ultimately going to help me grow and help me become the best person I can be, and also the best at what I'm trying to do. So that's something that is to keep in mind. You see a lot of people, for example, and not everyone needs to do it, and you don't need to do it to live a very fulfilling life that's purpose-driven, but they don't move out of their hometown. And so what kind of happens is you know what you know, you stick around the people that you care about the most, and again, that's really fulfilling. But you might not be, let's say you always had dreams of opening up a multi-state business that can operate in a lot of different ways in some certain industry. Well, you're not really going to be able to be the best at that you could possibly be if that was your goal. Probably if you only stick again in your hometown and you really don't spread roots elsewhere, or maybe try moving out, or maybe try chasing a career in a different market, because it's unlikely that the best of whatever, again, that industry is specifically right where you are at all times. And again, it just requires getting outside your comfort zone, moving away. And that could be a pretty big thing to do, if you haven't really experienced getting outside your comfort zone, moving away, actually taking a chance on something you really want to do, not knowing people, getting to a new area. It's a pretty difficult thing to do, but once you've done it once, it makes it easier to do moving forward, and helps you feel like you have a bigger range to roam around in throughout the states instead of being locked into one area. But I can remember personally when I was first coming up in broadcasting, which is something now I've really taken a love for, it was very difficult to even hop on the mic at first. I couldn't even fathom stepping in front of a crowd at all. Public speaking too was a big thing, and now I can honestly say I'd feel very comfortable with speaking in front of a big crowd and also speaking to a large audience throughout the microphone, and that's something I do on a consistent basis all the time. So once you've done it once, it makes it easier moving forward. But it's so hard that first time. You just have to get over it, and you have to go in with a mindset knowing that, and this is the same thing no matter what challenge you have in your life, is just knowing you're probably going to get your rear end kicked the first time. It's probably going to be really bad, and there's almost nothing you can really do about it. You can prepare all you want and do all that, but once you really have to get the experience to know what things are like and to know how to do it. And without that experience, it really, you just can't prepare for a lot of these things that happen. And so getting that is going to help you out in getting outside your comfort zone. But again, that first basically hit, that first wall to break is always the toughest one. And a lot of people won't ever even try to do that, again, because they're fearful of what they could lose. Whereas to me, I'm fearful of what I could miss out on. And that's the biggest thing you have to keep in mind. I mean, a lot of people set up very safe, secure lives to where they have so many things accomplished. They have, again, family, all these meaningful things to their life, but they really didn't go out, I feel like, and do what they wanted to do, or really give that shot to something they wanted to do. Maybe it, again, was opening a business, opening a charity, some type of organization, or really sparking something in a community, maybe going to a state and getting a whatever it is. But it's all important to your growth to really try to step outside their comfort zone. And I don't want to live with regret. I can definitely live with chasing something I really wanted and not getting there. there. I can understand that. Most people probably won't get to where they really ultimately want to go maybe at the end of the day, and maybe it just ends up being you end up falling short anyway, but I have to know I tried. I have to know I tried to go get what I wanted out of life, and without going to do that, I would feel more hopeless certainly than setting up some fulfilling life that I didn't necessarily want to live but had to in order to get by day to day, and it would just end up being a nightmare for me, especially because if I get to where I really want to go in my current route, then I would be able to help people around me so much more than just basically taking, let's say, whatever job or whatever career path or stuff like that other people wanted you to. But it's really important to take that big chance at first, step up, get outside your comfort zone. Again, take a job in a different market, see if you can make friends and relationships, maybe talk to somebody that you wouldn't normally talk to, really try to spread your knowledge as much as you can, because at the end of the day, staying insular and only knowing what you know all the time and really not trying to drive too far outside of what you know can really limit you in life, and it is going to make you look at everything in a much smaller lens when the world is much broader than that. But definitely don't follow the rules that you feel like are almost given out to you, or try to always keep it safe, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's, again, better to live with no regrets, knowing you're going after what you want out of life rather than sitting around when I'm old thinking I should have done this, what it could have been had I given it my full effort. And that's a big thing, because a lot of people, when they're not passionate about stuff, they're not going to give it their full effort. And so you see this a lot with people working these really incredible jobs that are very important. I don't know, let's say you're a carpenter or something like that, or a plumber, and you're wanting to open that business, but it's not really what you wanted to do. You're sort of doing it because you're good at it, and again, it's making you money and all stuff like that, but you maybe really wanted to go into architecture or something like that. That's what you're most passionate about. Well, you can get a great plumbing business, again, that even makes millions if you set it up right and all this stuff, but you'll always maybe fall short of what you could have been. Like maybe you could have opened a $10 million architecture business or something like that had you really pursued that path, even though the lumps at the beginning could have been much worse than getting into plumbing, where is that lower barrier to entry, if you will. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but that's pretty much what I wanted to come on here and talk about, is getting outside your comfort zone, the importance of that, and there's definitely a lot of more examples I could get into, but that'll wrap it up for today's video, and just really wanted to reinforce that getting outside your comfort zone is so important. And thanks everyone for watching the videos we've had out so far. We're going to have more on the horizon. If you like the content, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hope you come back for the next video.